we'll go ahead and get started.
Oh, jeez. What happened? Dan wants to repair something.
Oh, are you okay, Dan?
There's poor workmanship in this one.
We're on the air now.
So good morning and welcome to the April 28th, 2022 meetings of the City of Lakeland Historic Preservation Board and Design Review Committee. The board and committee meet monthly to review proposals for changes to properties located within the city's 7 historic districts and buildings designated as local landmarks, as well as to conduct other historic preservation-related business consistent with Article 11 of the Land Development Code. The board is made up of 9 Lakeland citizens appointed by the City Commission and is assisted by staff of the Community and Economic Development Department, as well as the City Attorney's Office. The first meeting comprises the Historic Preservation Board agenda, where business of the board is handled, including recommendations of new historic designations. The second meeting consists of the Design Review Committee agenda and it involves acting on recommendations from staff regarding certificate of review applications for major work proposed to properties within the historic districts or local landmark buildings. The Design Review Committee is a standing subcommittee of the Historic Preservation Board. Public input is welcomed for items on the Design Review Committee's agenda, and we invite everyone who wishes to participate to be heard. We ask that all speakers come up to the central podium, state their name and address for the record, and be concise in their comments. Thank you for your interest and participation. Please silence all mobile devices at this time. And with that, I will turn the meeting over to our board chair, Mr. John White.
Thank you. I'll call to order the April 28th meeting of the Historic Preservation Board, and we'll start with the roll call. John White, present. Len Dennis.
Present.
Landis Fleming.
Present.
Dan Fowler.
Present.
Jeremy Moses.
Present.
Christopher Olson.
Present.
Cesar Perez.
Present.
Melinda Rinker.
Here.
And Michelle Sylvester.
Here.
All right. We have a quorum. We have 100% attendance today, as a matter of fact. We have before us the minutes, first of all, of the February 24th meeting, which could not be approved last month because we did not have a quorum. I'll entertain a motion.
I move for approval. Second.
Any discussion on the minutes of February 24th? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. You have before you the minutes of the March meeting of the Preservation Board. I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second, okay. Any discussion about the March minutes, at which we did not have a quorum? All those in favor signify by saying aye for approval.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Thank you so much. We have under old business, nothing listed. And I think we were going to bring the other stuff up under new business in terms of calendar and things that are about to happen in May. Do you want to make the announcements, Emily? Or?
Sure. Yeah, I can. So on your agenda, in honor of May as Historic Preservation Month, on May 2nd at the City Commission meeting, there will be a Historic Preservation Month proclamation read by the mayor. You are all invited to attend that. I would encourage that. I know John is planning on attending. Gal Fields will actually be there to accept the proclamation on behalf of the Lakeland History and Culture Center. There's a little blurb in the proclamation that recognizes that center and the opening that hopefully will happen later this year. And then as for events in the rest of May, May 16th will be the annual Historic Preservation Awards ceremony. Again, you are more than welcome to attend that. And I had placed a little invite at your spaces on the dais this morning. That's always a fun event to see all of the completed restoration projects and compatible infill projects that were done within the last year. and just see those, the homeowners and business owners be recognized for their hard work. And then finally, at our May meeting, which is May 26th, we'll have our what we call our annual review, which will just kind of provide the annual review wrap up from last year and give you some statistics about how many cases we looked at, that kind of thing, and also, discuss future goals. So I just wanted to announce that. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Any questions or concerns about any of those things coming up? I would encourage you to come Monday. Gal Fields will have some nice things to say about the historical center. And I understand there have been some problems under construction with a roof leak, and so we're probably delayed till October before it fully opens. But we should hear more about that as the summer proceeds. And I would encourage you as well to come to the Preservation Awards on the 16th, because we co-host that, the Preservation Board with Historic Lakeland each year. And we have a good slate of candidates this year, all but I think one of which have gone through our Design Review Committee.
Yes.
And that one just happens to be an honorable mention, so it's not necessarily relevant at this point. So please plan on coming. It'll start at about 5:30 with a little social hour, and then at 6 o'clock we'll start the ceremony that evening at the Polk Theater on the 16th. Is there any other business to come before the board this morning?
Mr. Chairman, I may have something.
Yes?
Did you get my email?
I did. I have that slide if you would.
What's that?
I have the slide that you.
Could you show that,
Sure.
please? I have a question for the board.
Yes, I saw that.
Remember that
You want to put it
This is-
there.
This was an April Fool's Day joke by our communications department.
April Fool's publication for the city, but, the more I thought about that, I just wanted to get what y'all thought about it.
I said to my husband when he showed it to me, I'm like, wait, we didn't approve that.
That was my reaction.
That was my first, huh? And I do love that statue. I know it's in an odd location based on what else is around it around the lake, but yeah. So I'm like, wait, no, we're not there yet.
I thought what was even better was in 1 year we gonna plan a road over Florida Avenue. Y'all saw that, didn't you? Dates and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I missed that
Oh, yeah, an elevated road with no thing all the way from Lime Street to Ariana.
one. Over Dixieland, yeah.
Yeah, to relieve the traffic and all that.
I missed that one.
Oh, that was, it was a very serious article.
Oh, yes.
Most people, I had a lot of comments among some of my residents. Why are they just announcing this? I said, do you realize what date that is?
It's funny because there had been some discussion about doing that with Massachusetts and Florida Avenue across the railroad track at some time in the past.
Yeah.
But, it's never come to fruition. That's how Underground Atlanta was actually created, was they decided to start taking the roads over the railroad. And there's a railroad yard underground in downtown Atlanta, and the 0 mile marker is down there. But it's that same kind of idea. They didn't want to be disruptive to traffic and stuff.
I just want to put on the record that communications did not run that by legal.
At least not openly admitting it.
That does open the discussion, though, that we were going to bring up under old business that I forgot to say about, and that's the 1980s and then later 2000,
2003.
not 2000, yeah, 2003 plan for Munn Park, both of which showed a building along the north side of the park that kind of closes the fourth wall of the park back in, as opposed to having the railroad be a part of the park. And so there had been some discussion about that kind of off the record, not concerning me, but there was the question from the planner who did that original work, why are we not pursuing that perhaps?
Well, our committee discussions on Munn Park did in fact go back and with that plan. And we were very much embracing that. We just haven't moved forward with the idea, but then, I saw that, I said, that's colorful, it's a great scale. And it puts it in currently it's in a location that is not
well seen.
not many people really see it. That puts it front and center. Its meaning having to do with
Spirit of
Volunteerism.
yes, is very much Lakeland,
Yes,
and it's non-political.
right.
It kind of ticks off. To me, I thought
Yep.
moving it to some location like that would be tremendous.
So is that a subtle hint from the,
I was just saying, is that a
I
proposal?
have no comment.
Well, maybe when we have our next Munn Park committee meeting,
consider it?
we could discuss that more. But
That's
but yeah, I was saying kudos to whoever did that. That was my first thought too. Was wait a minute, that wasn't put in front of the board.
Wasn't approved by anybody.
Yeah, mine as well. I think Kevin Cook gets the nod for that.
But because we were talking about a kind of a design. I mean, a design sort of competition for something there. But something that that would be creating something new there would be quite costly.
I was gonna say, you've just got the cost of moving and
Yeah,
installation.
and well, I mean, creating something new would be
No,
even more
I'm saying,
costly.
yeah,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
saying you
Yeah.
only have the cost of
yeah.
as opposed to paying for something.
And we have practiced moving things already.
Yeah.
The other side of that was all of a sudden there's a big electrical box that's shown up in the middle of the park now that didn't used to be there. And you had the obelisk that was there with lights on it, and I don't understand how the electrical box ended up in the middle of the
Oh,
park.
I haven't noticed
Was
that.
that April the 1st too?
No, it's there.
Yeah.
And there was a question from that same planner, I don't mind saying it, Jim Edwards, about why that electrical box is there. And so we might ask E&W why we need a box to provide electricity in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
That's to bring three-phase power to hard rock bands,
Is that what it's
that are
for?
planned in the future.
If you're gonna use the center of the park as a stage.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But anyway, thank you for
Sure.
bringing that.
Yeah.
And
And
Thank you, Dan.
is it the board's desire to have another meeting of the Munn Park Committee?
I would
I
love
think
that.
we do need to, resurrect that.
Okay.
In my mind. You know, because, to put together, final decision with kind of a letter to the commissioners. Well, first we'd bring it to the full board here for approval of
Our
what
recommendation.
our recommendations, and then prepare a document for presentation to the city commissioners.
Well, now what year historically does that represent?
None.
None. It's
Timeless,
yeah, it's
Linda.
time.
We hoped it to be timeless, yes.
I said 1921.
No.
So,
Well, it's kind of interesting because now the city's logo actually embraces all that color and sparkle too. So, yeah.
that's right. So,
Anyway,
thank you, Chairman.
you're welcome. Any other business to come before the board? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Yes. Do we have a second?
Oh, second.
And we'll call the question. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Thank you. We are adjourned.
And we will convene the April 28th, 2022 Design Review Committee and start with roll call. Lynn Dennis, I am here. John White,
Present?
Dan Fowler,
Here?
Landis Fleming,
Here?
Jeremy Moses.
Here.
Chris Olson.
Here.
Melinda Rinker.
Here.
We are all present and accounted for. Hopefully you have reviewed the minutes from the March 24th meeting. Are there any corrections or additions? Do I hear a motion to approve?
A motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes are approved. Since we last met, there have been 16 cases that were reviewed administratively. Any questions about any of those? Okay, hearing none, we will move on then to the public hearing portion of the meeting and to consider 2 certificate of review applications. And I would ask that Assistant City Attorney Jared Simpson please administer the oath to all of those who wish to, I hate to use this, testify. I always say speak, but testify before.
So if you're going to speak to the board, just raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Okay, the first certificate of review is HPB 22-043 at 1117 Dorothy Street. Final approval requested for the new construction of a single-family house on the vacant lot at this address. The owner applicant, Mr. Dennis Johnson, and 3B Real Estate LLC. Okay, are there any conflicts of interest among board or committee members?
No.
Okay, Emily, may we have the staff report and recommendation?
Yes, Madam Chair. Okay, so the subject property is an interior lot of record and consists of 0.15 acres. An improved alley exists along the rear or northern boundary of the subject property, and this lot is currently vacant. So this is just a photo showing the current condition of the lot and the adjacent houses.
Is there an alley behind the property?
There is. The applicant requests to build a one-story, single-family house consisting of approximately 1,993 square feet of living space. The home will feature a neo-traditional aesthetic reflecting bungalow stylistic elements, such as a hipped main roof with a gabled roof front porch supported by tapered columns on brick plinths, windows with a mostly 3/1 light configuration, and a craftsman-style front door. The house will have an integrated lanai and an attached garage on the rear elevation with a garage door opening facing the alley. This is just a floor plan that was included in the agenda packet. And the materials proposed for the new house include a concrete stem wall foundation, hardy lap siding, and hardy board and batten in the front porch gable, hardy trim frieze boards and casing, vinyl single-hung sash windows, a fiberglass quarter-light front door, and a pair of full-light doors on the rear elevation. The garage will have a typical steel door with a raised panel design, asphalt architectural shingles on a 5/12 pitch roof, a fiberglass or vinyl gable vent in either a round or octagon shape in the front gable, hardy fascia with vinyl or aluminum soffit, and the front porch will have a concrete floor and steps with a smooth finish, and the columns will be wrapped with hardy material and have a brick veneer plinth. The exterior paint colors were included with your agenda packet and are acceptable. Let's see. So the site plan proposed for the proposed new construction shows orientation of the home's front facade towards Dorothy Street. The proposed building setbacks and porch depth for the house meet the Land Development Code's urban neighborhood standards. This request was evaluated using the standards and guidelines that are referenced here. And adjacent to the subject property along Dorothy Street exists several 1- and 2-story houses that exhibit the bungalow, frame vernacular, and masonry vernacular styles. Staff finds that the proposed new house is compatible in massing and scale to contributing bungalow and frame vernacular houses found throughout the Lake Hunter Terrace Historic District. The scale and proportion of the house and its architectural elements, including roof pitch and floor-to-ceiling heights, is also compatible with adjacent structures. The attached garage is appropriately placed at the rear of the proposed house. And staff also finds that the proposed materials are consistent with residences in the surrounding neighborhood and the design guidelines. The design of the house displays a neo-traditional style that is compatible with the architectural character of the district. Features such as the gabled front porch with tapered columns, lap and board and batten siding, 3/1 style windows, and craftsman style front door are consistent with historical architectural styles found in the neighborhood as well as the design guidelines. And finally, the proposed placement of the house on the lot is consistent with the design guidelines and urban neighborhood standards in terms of orientation, building setbacks, porch depth, and placement of the attached garage. The applicant is advised that a minimum setback of 2 feet from the interior side property line is required for the exterior AC unit. And for the benefit of the committee members, the front yard building setbacks of the adjacent houses are varied.
You can tell by the,
Yeah. So I measured kind of 3 houses down to the right of the property and 3 houses to the left. 1113 Dorothy Street has a front yard setback of 21 feet. 1107 has 23 feet. 1101 has 25 feet. The bottom photo shows the houses directly west of the subject property. And 1125 has a 21-foot front yard setback. And then 1121, which is that house that has the very deep setback, is 95 feet. And this house was likely a garage apartment first, and then a principal structure was just never built. So staff recommends final approval of the request with the following conditions to be reviewed and approved by staff prior to permitting. Number 1, windows must have exterior mounted muntins and dimensional mullions of at least 4 inches between paired or grouped windows. Windows also must be recessed to provide a shadow line and not installed flush to the exterior wall surface. Windows must also include historically appropriate trim, including header, sill, and apron. Number 2, corner boards must be used on the outer corners of the house. Number 3, hardy lap siding must have an exposure of 6 inches or less. Number 4, ensure the foundation is at least 21 inches in height, measured from grade to finished floor. Number 5, ensure porch columns and capitals are properly sized and aligned with the upper beam. And number 6, use a rectangular or triangular gable vent instead of the octagon or round. Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you, Emily. Does the applicant have anything to add? Okay.
We're planning to do all that anyway.
Okay, perfect.
We agreed on that.
Any questions? I think no one here to ask from the audience. Do the committee members have any questions to ask?
I'd just like to ask about the scale of the gable vent. That's awfully small, and I think she included a picture of one of a similar residence. Yeah.
It'll be bigger than that.
Okay.
The house we built in St. Pete like this, we actually put a little window in there.
Yes, I saw
It
that.
actually looked better.
I'm sorry, but our communications folks are giving me the signal to tell me.
It was this.
Hi, Dennis Johnson, Tampa, Florida, 33629. Yeah, we built a similar house in St. Petersburg a couple years ago, and we actually put a little window in there. We were trying to, save costs because it's more expensive. But yeah, that's actually out of scale.
Okay. Is that the photo that was included in the packet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that greenhouse is the house that the applicants built in Tampa.
And this house probably will be elevated a little more than our draftsman is showing it, because I think it'll be probably elevated another course up. So it will probably have another step. We're probably looking at,
24-inch?
yeah, probably three steps up. Yes, sir.
21 to 24. Okay.
And that's within,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks better when you lift those bungalows up. They just show better.
And then another question on the lanai. On the floor plan, it looks like it's screened.
It is, yes, sir.
The intention is to screen
It is, yes, it is screened, just in case somebody wanted a pool in the back. That's why we shifted the site plan over to one side. We wanted to give a bigger yard. By shifting the site plan to 5 feet, we get a bigger yard on that if we'd centered it, then the backyard would have gotten even narrower.
Yes.
And then we can put our equipment on the 11-foot side. And we actually are renovating the house adjacent too, so we're completely redoing that house. So it'll look completely different. We call it the ugly house with a blue roof next door. You see that one? So that's going to be a big change.
Yeah.
On the St. Pete house, there's like a shadow line in detail on the porch columns. Is that going to be
The
repeated?
columns will be a little different. Emily and I, we talked about the columns. These columns will not be probably as tapered as I think you wanted. Those were a little more triangular, the St. Pete house. So these will be a little bit more like the original you see. They'll just have the caps and the base on them with a.
They'll be completely smooth.
They'll be smooth, yes, they will.
Is the green one at the St. Pete house, is that what?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's slightly larger than this house. It's about 2,300. We basically took that plan and shrunk it a little bit. It's in a more expensive neighborhood and much more expensive to build there. It has a lot more, we put brick trim everywhere on that house.
Well, interesting too that you put capitals on these columns where the ones in St. Pete don't look like they have capitals on the top.
Yeah, they're different, right? Yeah, they are.
They don't have
Yeah.
the capital.
We talked about that, so she wanted that.
Good deal.
Well, she can just give us a picture and we'll build whatever she wants. We're not married to any columns.
So the only parking for this house is the 2-car driveway.
Yeah, it'll be a double. Yeah, there is enough room. There's 23 feet so that you could actually get 2 in the garage and 2. And we did a pretty large garage. We're doing I think it's like a 21 or 22 foot. Yeah, it's not one of the little tiny ones like you see where you can't get 2 cars in.
Where you're opening the door, this.
Exactly, right.
Can you park on Dorothy?
Yes,
You can.
there is
yeah.
on-street parking. I believe, I'm not sure if it's just one side or both.
I was say, because if there's not on-street parking, then people that visit, they don't know to park in the back, so then they park in the front yard, and then it looks trashy.
Well,
There's a
we
pretty
actually want to do a circular drive, but we got denied for that. So.
So, but if you can park on the street, that's fine.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Wow, thank you, Melinda.
That screen porch, by the way, on that blue house is now gone.
Okay.
So we ripped it on. We took all the vinyl siding off, and we went back to the original wood on the gables. So it looks a lot better now already. And we're going to rip if you see the blue front door, that was that and to the right was a porch. It was closed in, so we're going to open that back up. So there'll be a porch on that house.
Is that also reviewed?
Yeah, are we reviewing that one yet?
No,
That hasn't come before you yet.
Not yet, okay.
it's not.
It still has to come through us, right?
But you've already applied for a building permit, right?
Did we apply? Did we? Not yet. We're just. We haven't gotten that far yet. Yeah, we haven't gotten that far yet.
Please do that.
Okay. I thought we talked to you about that. We did.
And
What?
Still have to.
We'll follow up, yeah. Okay.
yeah, I believe those items can be reviewed by staff administratively. They don't have to come to the
Right,
committee.
okay,
but
right, that's what okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Nobody wants to come for us. Scary people that we are. Very good. If there are no further questions, we'll close the public portion of this review and ask for any internal discussion among committee members, if there is any.
No, I would make a motion to approve the presentation on the house on Dorothy and with staff recommendations.
Second.
It's been moved and second that for approval of the request with staff recommendation. All in favor?
Aye.
Well, I guess I'm sorry, I should do this
Roll call.
legitimately. Okay. Lynn Dennis, for the motion. John White.
For the motion.
Dan Fowler.
For the motion.
Landis Fleming.
For.
Jeremy Moses.
For the motion.
Chris Olson.
For the motion.
Melinda Rinker.
Or,
Very good. You are approved. Thank you so much. It's going to look great. Okay, we will move along then to our second certificate for review, and that is HPB 22-067, 612 West Patterson Street. Final approval requested for the exterior alterations to the house at this address, which were completed without receiving a certificate of review. The owner is KMS Enterprises, LLC. The applicant, Mr. Franco Otero Cosio Construction, LLC. Okay. Are there any conflicts among committee members? If not, then Emily, may we have the staff report and recommendation?
Yes, Madam Chair. So the subject property consists of one lot of record with a total area of 0.15 acres. And on this property is a two-story, single-family house built circa 1925 in the frame vernacular architectural style, which is a contributing building in the Dixieland Historic District. Unusual features of this house include a flat roof and a stuccoed front porch and connected porte-cochere with pointed arch bays. These are just some additional pictures of the rear and side of the house after the renovation of the home was completed. And this is a photo of the house prior to renovation. So a total renovation of this house was begun in 2020 and completed in 2022, for which building permits were issued, as well as certificates of review that were administratively granted. The request involves changes that were made as a part of the renovation, but were not specified in the building permit and therefore did not receive a certificate of review. These alterations included, number one, the removal of a pair of 9-light French doors on the front facade. Number two, relocation of the front door opening and installation of a new front door and side light. And number three, the addition of wooden headers and shutters on the front facade second-story windows. The applicant was made aware of the need for historic design review approval, and as staff was unable to administratively approve the request, it was deferred to the committee for your review and approval. And this image shows the house in January 2019, prior to the renovation, as I mentioned. Okay, so this image, also from 2019, clearly shows the original location of the front door and the 9-light French doors that were located on the front facade. And this request was evaluated using the standards and guidelines referenced here. So staff finds that the request is not consistent with the standards and design guidelines or compatible with the architectural style of the home. The design guidelines state that the removal, covering up, or destroying original entryway and door trim or other architectural features is not acceptable, so the complete removal of the French doors and their opening and relocating the front door opening is not an appropriate treatment. Introduction of a side light at the new front door opening, as well as the addition of decorative window headers and shutters, is also not consistent with the standards and design guidelines, as these are conjectural features that are not original to the home. While the relocation of the front door is inappropriate, staff finds that the design of the craftsman style is appropriate and may be used. So staff recommends denial of the request as submitted, with the recommendation that, number one, the decorative window shutters and headers be removed, and number two, the relocation of the original front door opening and removal of French doors is reversed and restored, with the exception that the new craftsman style door may be used in the original location of the front door. And thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Emily, very much. Okay, does the applicant care to? Yes.
Franco Otero Cosio, 13014 North Del Mabry Highway, Tampa, Florida. And first, let me start off by apologizing. I'm the contractor of record, and I guess I should have been aware that this is a house in the historic preservation area. So first, I want to apologize. I know you guys take your job very serious when it comes to historic preservation. My dad was an architect that specialized in this kind of work. But I'm the contractor of record, and then when I got hired by the investor to take over the project, could I show you this? Can you put it up there?
Sure.
Okay. blocked off.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna talk
Okay.
Oh, perfect. So the door that was, the front door that was removed right in front of the staircase, when I took over the project, that was already completed. And I called the investor after the violation was, we were noticed about the violation, and I guess he said that this, when they bought the house was being, it was divided into 3 or 4 units being rented out illegally, and that one door was going into the existing bedroom to the left, which was an apartment. So they, before, what I'm trying to say, before I got the job, that was already done. Then the 2 French doors that were removed, that was also done too. Now,
Before you took over?
yes. And then, you know, we submitted the plans, got the permit, and like I said, it wasn't, I had no idea it was an historic preservation area. You know, I definitely would have let them know that, you know, let's address that first when we're in permitting. But that's beside the point. I just want to get that out for the record. Now, with the violations here is the house sold, and I guess the buyers loved the doors the way the house is now. But I understand at the end of the day, it's your decision if we need to remove it or keep it as is. And I have a picture too. See if I can find it.
Quick question. So this is what's existing now as far as the door?
No, that was prior to. Now, the door in front of the staircase, that's no longer existing. That was removed.
So that's the previous door?
Yes, there was 2 doors, the French doors to the right, and then just a single solid door to the left.
Okay.
And then I guess the single solid door in front of the staircase, that was removed. And I guess there's just a wall there now. And then the 2 doors, the French doors, they were at the end, we replaced them and put the new wood door structure, which I want to show a picture of how, so you can see how it looks like now.
They put the door inside, or the French door,
This is the actual door.
Yeah.
and then just closed up the hole where the main door was. That's what it was.
So this is the new door system that replaced the French doors. So I know from the angle outside, the picture is blocked off from the porch. So I just wanted to show you that so you could get a general idea of what it looks like. But I mean, I'm here respectfully asking, hopefully you could approve the way it is, since the buyers have bought it and they loved it. But I understand, you know, this is a historic preservation district, and it's at the end of the day, it's up to you guys. And I respectfully, your recommendation.
Okay, I just need to make sure I'm following what has happened. The renovation was drawn professionally, designed professionally.
Yes.
It went to the city planning. They approved it and gave permits for it.
Right.
I still got a real problem philosophically when it appears as though the contractor has gone through the process and then we start second guessing.
So the changes to the front door and the French doors, those were not included in the plans that were submitted with the building permit.
So that was shown as original on the plans,
I
or?
was gonna
With no
say,
change.
if you see the plan that he showed you, it's the demolition plan.
Yes,
and the doors
that's
are
what
there.
was, that was
So the doors
submitted with
weren't
the
meant
building
to be
permit.
They
removed.
did not show these.
So he's saying that's when he got the project, it was already done.
Permit-wise,
Right.
construction-wise, when was something done illegally?
Prior to this man.
Other than historic facility, as far as all the other elements,
Okay.
all the appearances are that the owner, the designer, the contractor went through a normal sequence of events, got it approved, paid for a permit.
And then did something different.
Yes,
That's the problem.
That's
They did
the
something
problem.
different.
The plan did not show pulling out the original
Okay.
front door
Yeah.
and the French doors.
They got permits for the window and other things, and then at the end, slid in the door repair.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
Prior, and
elimination.
they did the door changes prior to him taking over?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you got the original things from the previous whomever. What did you get?
When I took over the project, like I said, is the solid door, that was already removed. And there was two, I'm trying to find a picture of it so I can.
Who did
I guess
that one?
I'm just saying, you know, the previous contractor, did they close their permits out and the city signed off?
I don't believe there was a previous permit, you know? When I got involved.
Were the permits closed, or did you just assume the permits?
There was,
Was someone living in the house?
No, it was vacant,
So
no.
there was no CO
It was
on it?
just, no, it was,
there was a permit pulled to replace the windows, that was a separate permit,
Right.
and then a permit for interior renovations.
Right, but did
Which
somebody from the
didn't show.
city inspect it and sign it off?
For interior and windows.
Yes.
Not for doors.
Yeah,
Well,
Okay,
they would have
my
noticed, they would have noticed the door.
they would have, and that's why I failed the final historical inspection on that building permit, because this was not included in the scope.
And that was prior to him assuming the property.
It sounds like that.
yes.
And he's saying that the house is sold, but it's actually pending. Is it still pending?
Yeah, the house actually closed.
Oh, it actually did close.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm dealing with an investor, and then, obviously I don't know if it's closed because I guess the title company did the search and there's still open permit.
Yeah, when I checked,
Yeah.
because I followed this house the
Yeah.
entire renovation, because I.
Yeah,
didn't know-
I'm trying to find a picture when I first got the property
The
that,
other day.
yeah, when I first got the property, I'm trying to find the picture where the door was already removed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying, that
That's where my disconnect.
when the architect's job is to do their due diligence, you know, that's a violation in itself, that should have been attached to the property with that, if there was that door, when I got the job, the door was already removed
Right.
and patched
I
up.
understand that.
But that's a
I'm trying to
violation.
determine the status of the permit at this point. So there's an open permit that's currently failed inspection.
Right,
Right.
correct.
And you assumed that as part of purchasing and now closing on the house, that it's got a failed permit. Okay.
And if it has
Yeah.
a failed
Somebody
permit,
assigned.
you can't occupy the house. I mean,
It won't
there's
go
no CO
through.
on it because
Right.
it's been vacant, right?
Yeah,
Right,
and then
correct.
basically, we passed all our inspections, but I couldn't get my building final because of this.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're saying the building.
It's not your fault.
Yes,
The
the building,
previous owner is responsible for the
yeah,
people
the
that-
building final is on hold until historic preservation is, because the historic preservation is actually an actual inspection in itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where we're here now. But like I said here, I'm just here to find a solution,
Yeah.
you know?
You're stuck in the middle of
But, and
it.
like I said from the beginning, you know,
Yeah.
I apologize for, you know, I should have known better. This is a historic, I would have addressed this months ago,
Yeah.
you know?
And you're not the first contractor that's come in and had to fix previous errors. Last month there was one.
I do a lot of ATF remediation in the city of Tampa and St. Pete. So I've been doing this for 20, 30 years, so I know, believe me, there's tricks of the trade that you become detectives. Okay, what's been going on here? But since this house is a 1920, I mean, the original structure itself hasn't changed much. I think the only things that probably changed throughout the years maybe is the front porch and that front door. But
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at this. So the before picture, the red is the door.
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
That was one door going in straight to the upstairs.
Straight into the stairs. but
And then to the
there's-
right of that door, there was a double French door. So
The
there's
double
actually
French door,
there's three
right.
doors.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that in itself wasn't part of the original design of the house. So that must have been an illegal addition 20 years ago, probably 30 years
You
ago.
said it was at 1.3 units.
Yeah. So those things were done illegally and then never got caught, I guess.
Oh, it's an odd location where the door is
It's
splitting,
not- yeah,
splitting the triangle,
arch, yeah.
the arch, yeah.
And the French doors too are not centered on the arch, nor is the window.
Yeah, that tells me basically it's an illegal, something there wasn't done without permitting too, way back in the day.
Do we know that the front door, the red front door, was original?
It's definitely not. It's a solid, it's probably a 1960s solid wood door.
So what's been lost wasn't historic in the first place?
Just the opening itself, if we're assuming that that is the original opening location, then the design guidelines state, not to change the original opening location.
It could have just as easily been another 9-light door like the French doors.
Right,
Yeah, and more likely the original door was centered on that arch.
Yeah.
right.
Could have been,
It
yeah.
could have been.
Yeah, if I
Though
may
the
add.
lamp there indicates not.
Yeah, but that could be,
There's a lantern to the left of the door.
but that's pretty easy to throw in electrical.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
that would indicate to me that it was just designed off-center.
But I do
Because the
know-
door is centered on the
Well,
overall structure.
It is, that's what I was gonna say.
But I do know that one solid door, when talking to the investor, that it was being used when they took control of the property, that door to the left, it was being rented out, that little space right there as a illegal apartment.
Right.
So I don't know if that's been like, that was how they got it, so.
Right.
Yeah, I almost think that room was originally
Do you have
open.
any interior of looking at the, not at the door, but at the steps right there?
Oh, yes.
Well,
I know,
I know for, you got to deal with what we're dealing with,
I
not the
know.
interior portion of it.
Yeah.
Because the interior probably has been
Yeah.
changed. There
Melinda, do you want to see the front?
Focus on what we're dealing with here,
Yeah.
the relocation of the door, the removal of the
French door.
French doors.
And that's the two things we can,
Yeah, and the shutters and the headers on the windows.
and the sign in the front yard.
I haven't gone inside.
Oh, that's a good
I
picture.
pointed that out to Emily.
The door we're talking about is right there.
It's also, I would think, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So where that painting's at, that's where that door is at, the door that was removed.
Was right there.
Yeah,
And then it goes right into the steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the interior renovations, it really doesn't affect it. The door would just be in a little alcove.
Yep. Okay, any other questions from, we did this backwards, from public input, and we've had committee questions, and do you have anything else to add?
no, that's what I said, I mean,
Okay.
I'm here to find a solution, whatever you recommend.
So we close the public portion, oh, sorry, yes.
We just have one quick comment, I don't know, you may hate it, but, and Emily may hate it, but
An option which is you actually could move, you could keep this retaining wall, slide this one over here, the step wall, and put the step center, and then
Be more aesthetic.
it would be more, you wouldn't have to deal with the inside at all. The house would look way better if you, so you would continue this cap on the left, the steps would be centered straight up to the door. Just a
That's
thought.
the way it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yes.
not even.
We're
yeah.
dealing with original structure here, so.
Which is-
Assuming that was the original,
that door was not original.
no, not the door, the porch.
And I'm thinking too, that porch and I think that porch wasn't 1920s, that's probably done probably in the 50s, 60s too.
But it was added after the original
Yeah,
structure, probably.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it does.
Yeah.
Probably was, but then we would have to deal with
Architecture at all.
acquiring historic significance on its
Because it
own.
covers the French doors completely.
Yeah.
Take the entire porch down, go back to the original. Just kidding.
Okay.
The porch is
Now,
now
we've
historical.
closed the public portion. Now, discussion among the committee members.
I would also like to read into the record that the sign in the front yard needs to be removed. It's just a number sign for the address, but isn't in accord with what we do on addressing on buildings and residences.
Yeah.
And that would have to have a permit anyway, wouldn't it? A sign like that, wouldn't it have to have a permit?
Not in residential.
Not in residential, okay.
Not residential, but
material
it
doesn't fit the
isn't
character.
historically appropriate.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
It says it matches the shutters.
But in the staff report, the shutters and the headers are going to be removed as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was the recommendation.
Are we all agreeing on number one at least?
Oh, the
What's number
shutters
one?
and headers.
Shutters and
Don't even, yeah.
Yeah, okay, absolutely.
Totally in agreement on number one.
Then number two.
I have an idea to put forth on number two.
And can you put the before and after, if you don't mind?
Yeah, but
Yeah, so we can talk about it.
you know, we want this house to be compatible with what it once was and to be compatible with the neighborhood, which, in other words, some of, like, the shutters there and even the color and the material does not fit the house nor the neighborhood, nor the architecture of the house. From a functional standpoint, what they did with the front door makes perfect sense.
Functionally,
There are some, so if that were to remain with other changes I'll talk about, there needs to be something as you're walking up the steps besides a blank wall.
Yes.
What if they installed a matching window
Me too.
at that, which would let light into the stairwell, the air niche and airway, so that, again, functionally that works well. But then you go back to the new doors and side light, that stands out because the detailing doesn't match the original, what was originally there with the wood trim around it, the width of the wood trim and all that. If they were to go back and match it to make it look like, the windows just to the right of it.
Are you talking like a smaller center?
Look at, I'm blowing up, this. You look at the window trim,
He's showing us the double
the
window.
head or the double windows.
Okay, yeah.
If they frame out the door with matching trim, header and side trim with the same width and white, because certainly the natural, stained wood frame does not fit the character at all. And I'm really iffy on that door on the outside. If all that was just white, and they can keep the stain on the inside, which is not our purview anyway, but just something like that would aesthetically bring this house back into, was it what it was there before? Exactly, no. But I think aesthetically, it would fit the house and the character of the neighborhood.
I'm wondering about the issue of the whole change to the front of the residence in terms of the openings themselves. It would seem like to me, rather than a window, you'd go back and put a door there.
And are the French doors a defining feature? Because that's kind of one of the things of, do you eliminate or keep? Is it a defining feature?
Yeah.
Right, I would consider the French doors to be a character defining feature.
In terms of like function, there's a lot of things about old houses that don't function well in today's standards, but when they were built 80, 90, 100 years ago, that was a function. So you give up some of that function when you agree to buy an older home. I mean, a lot of bungalows, you open right into the living room, and the living room's not huge, but they don't build homes like that anymore because you need a place to put the TV, so there, you lose that function, but it's a defining feature.
Well, and also in the before, there's the French doors, but there's also a window.
To the right of it.
Well, no,
Yeah.
there's the French doors or
Yes, these
are the French doors,
and those are the windows.
and those are windows.
Yeah,
Okay, so it,
with a
right,
lantern,
right.
with a
Okay,
lantern
okay.
in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're pretty French doors. They're not just like, 15 light doors
Right.
that you get standard at Home Depot.
Right.
They're a novelty or a craftsman.
I'm guessing they're gone.
yeah, do those doors even exist?
Dixieland relic.
No, you'd end up with a 9-light that has the little 4-inch
Right.
pieces on it rather than the divided in thirds like these are. You'd have to manufacture a door to match those. And yeah.
Like, you ripped it out, you have to replace it the way it originally was. Too bad that it's expensive.
Right. Well, and title should put this as on a title thing. I mean, if this still had a permit on it, that would be a condition of closing or a title,
Well, we're not 100% sure
if it's actually closed or not.
It's not,
because there's an open permit on it.
right.
Because there's, exactly, and that would have been a title issue.
So when you
So-
when you accept that, you're accepting responsibility.
Correct, correct.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the staff report as presented and deny the request.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second. Is there further discussion?
Restate the motion?
Is to go with the staff
Okay.
recommendation.
Staff recommendation.
Yeah.
And deny the
And-
request as submitted.
And you want to add about the sign as well.
And add one item 3 would be to
Maybe
remove
you-
the front yard sign.
Yeah, restate the motion.
Okay. How does the applicant feel about these conditions?
Well, it doesn't, I hate to say that, I'm sure it matters, but the point is, do we approve or deny this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We approve the
That's
staff
a decision to
recommendations.
be made.
Yeah.
We
with an
all know
additional-
the issues
And the
and,
person that it really affects is not present. The owner of the
Correct.
property
Yeah,
is
Right.
not here.
Right.
who assumed this. Well, they assumed this willingly as part of their
Right,
purchase,
right.
knowing there was a title issue.
And so if it's not closed, then it's the current owner's issue to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because they were the ones that
Accepted.
accepted it and either current meaning whoever the seller was, you know, it's their issue to pay for.
We don't know the details of the contract between.
Like that's
and that's not
He
really,
says he's
yeah.
representing an investor,
Yeah.
and we don't know if it's closed or if it's still pending or what. And so, in their contract, their due diligence period may have already expired. So, yeah, who knows? We don't have
And
enough
really, this
information
is-
about
This
that.
is not our business.
Right.
Our business here is to act on what is before us.
Right. And if the committee does vote to approve the motion and whoever the current owner is decides not to do what has been recommended, that becomes a code enforcement action.
I do think that the board can consider, the circumstances and, what the repercussions of a denial would mean as far as, what ends up happening to the people that have to deal with that, and that's, I think, within your consideration.
Can I say something real quick? So it's just a disconnect because we're seeing pictures from 2019, and we're at 2022, right? And when he got it, 2021, he's saying that the door wasn't there. And if we look back, is the door historic? I mean, I know we want to keep things the way original were done, but sometimes original things weren't done correctly. And when I see this, I mean, from the fact that I don't like the shutters, and from the fact that I don't like the color of the trim because it doesn't represent what's there, I don't have a problem with the door where it is. And I understand the French doors and everything, but I think sometimes we gotta look, and these are people too, and buying houses right now is not easy. And we got people coming into the neighborhood, putting money into the neighborhood, making it better, and we're gonna deny something just because. I understand the French doors and everything, and I agree, but we don't even know if the French doors were there. We're looking at a picture of 3 years back on Google Earth. Like, I need more information to make a decision like that,
I think that's where I started Caesar as well, was I don't think the front door and the French doors were original anyway. So we're trying to put something back that wasn't original in the first place. So can we find a solution that we're happy
Yes.
with?
Okay, if or when we pass, which is pretty well, then the owner still has the option of saying they don't agree and coming back with another solution or whatever.
They do
So
have the
we're-
right to appeal.
We'll be giving them the option to close it out or if there's worth it to them money-wise or whatever, to come back with a different solution.
Well, they can appeal it too, and it goes to the full preservation board,
Right.
not just the design.
If the motion to
review.
deny passes, they'll have
So-
14 days to request an appeal, in which case the full board would vote on it, as opposed to just the
Yeah.
DRC committee.
Yeah.
Well, to say that, oh, it's cost a lot of money, well, it would have been really cheap to just ask for permission. to
Well,
switch
yeah,
to the front
here's,
door.
that's what we're failing to mention
Right.
here.
This was all done
This was
illegally.
done against what was permitted, you know, it not following the standards. We have to be careful. Our charge.
I agree.
You know, our charge
Trying to say we
here.
go the other route.
I
I'm
know,
just saying
I know.
that
We have
if he's the
been,
contractor right now, why are we not looking at the other guy? He's the one that violated.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
trying to deal with it,
100%.
right?
completely.
But
He's stuck in the
I'm
middle.
just saying our
Yeah.
rules right now, we gotta go one step further. I mean,
Well,
the
it's-
person that did these changes, it's gonna go away and this is keep happening. It's gonna keep happening, right? Because we
What's
saw it
happening
on the
is
other
we
meeting.
don't have enough
I know.
city staff to go out while the work is being done
I
and
agree.
say, yo, this is not what was
I
permitted.
understand.
Stop it. So
understand.
that's when it gets to this.
And that's like part of, well, I'm not on the design review board, but that's part of like our role as being community citizens is when you're seeing stuff. I email Emily all the time. Like, can you look into this? Can you look into this? Like, I follow the property records, I follow sales, I follow contractors, and so I know when work is being done, and I'll email Emily. So it doesn't show up 2 years down the road.
Right.
Yeah,
When we're sitting here going, well,
yeah.
now it's
Nobody
gonna cost a lot to.
Nobody likes to come into a situation like this where you've got to make a decision that is not a clear one because of the fact of changes that were made to the house and what's original, what isn't original, and keep to the historic preservation charge, you know, it's a challenge.
So my understanding of your motion is to approve per this with adding a third to remove the number sign in the front yard?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And if his motion is approved, they have 14 days to appeal, and that appeal would come to the full board, not
Yeah.
just design review.
And it gives them also the option to come back with some
Yeah.
options.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I would like to second that, because they still have those.
We've got a second,
We
so.
have a
second. We have a
yeah,
second.
We're just
Second.
discussing, and then we'll call the question.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Huh?
Chris, thank you.
Yeah, because they still have a,
Yeah,
They have an out.
they have an out, they have an option to come back and go, hey, what about this? I mean, definitely take those shutters
For all
and
we
head
know,
her
the
away.
owner's gonna say, okay, that's fine, and just does it. We don't know. He's not here.
Right.
But as the representative, I mean, you understand what the window we're giving here is,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
Now, going back, moving forward, obviously, I want to do things the right way. So, you know, the option is follow that word for word, you know, replacing the door. And now, do I have to, I'm free to do that now? I need special, should I come back here and say, this is what we're going to do? What is it, you know, I want to do things the right way moving forward. I mean, what will be the next step?
Right now, there's a motion to deny with those two recommendations. They're just, that's all they are, recommendations. There was a third added to that, which was to remove the sign with the address number. Those are recommendations. You would then have the option with 14 days from today to request an appeal, in which case, because to that motion that I just described, only a portion of the folks up here are going to vote on it. Not everybody's going to vote on it because there's a design review committee that's not the entire board that's up here. Okay. And so you'll have 2 weeks to basically request an appeal, and you'll come back next month or the following month, depending on your timeline, and you'll be in front of the whole board will get to vote on what you propose, and you can follow those recommendations. It sounds like that would be a pretty safe bet to get approval. Okay. But you could also present other solutions depending on what after speaking with the homeowners and the potential buyers and all the other interested parties and what they want, and then come back and bring options for the board to consider. You have that option as well.
I understand.
Okay. If we approve this and the owner says, okay, I want to do that, it doesn't have to come back to us.
Correct. It would just need to be added to the building permit.
That'd be
and
done through.
I could administratively.
Yeah, that was my question. So that was my question.
That was
Yeah.
his question.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
There would
Jared
be
likes to
some,
make it really legal.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Emily, would there be some
No, that was just
administrative review on
my
the,
bad.
I got
on the windows and
Place it
doors?
exactly as it was, then the staff can approve it.
Yeah, that was
So
great
I
too, 'cause I
left
Yeah,
that out.
that-
the option that you might.
That's
you
the
might-
fastest
might-
solution if
Okay.
you could.
And like I said, I heard you guys talk before, you're absolutely right, this all could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
the first nail was hammered in, so.
I just wanted to give you the opportunity
Yeah.
to be able to go back and come back with proposed solutions that maybe
Okay.
would make you happier.
Right, and then I'll get an email then, based on my 14 days of the right to appeal.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
And if you're okay with switching it back to this, then just you add that to the permit and
Okay,
Emily? Yeah.
Emily
And
approves
Emily
it.
approves it.
Right.
Move forward and do the work and they close.
And then we could close out the
Okay.
initial permit.
right.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for your time, appreciate it.
If the investor ever chooses to buy another house in the neighborhood and you're caught up in this, if you ever have questions, email or call Emily. She's very good at email.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Email you the sale. Even like my own personal house, I'll email her and say, do you think this would work? She's like, I don't know, that'd probably have to
I
be
do
board.
too.
She'll send me approvals, like, she's very easy.
Thank you.
And she'll answer like your dumb questions, like,
Great,
can
well, I got,
No, Dom.
I'm not saying dumb, it's not dumb. Some people think it,
Dumb questions, Michelle.
yeah, well, some people think like, oh, whatever, just ask her,
yeah. No, but I know,
Yeah, I know. John's sharing his gavel. All right, calm down. Calm down. Call for the
I've been doing this for a
question.
very long time, and sometimes these get adversarial, like us fighting against you. My philosophy is, if we all work together, we can
That's
find a solution
ours.
for everybody.
That is ours.
That's
Yep.
what I think, so.
And a lot of times it's misinformation.
Yeah.
So if you go to the source, you're going to get the correct information from the beginning, and then it's less frustrating for everyone.
Okay, we called the question.
We definitely understand your
We will now
situation,
take the
your
vote.
position that you're in.
Okay. Lynn Dennis for the motion, John White,
For the motion.
Dan Fowler,
For the motion.
Landis Fleming,
Or,
Jeremy Moses,
For.
Chris Olson,
For.
and Melinda Rinker. Okay. The motion is approved.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, we do appreciate it very much.
Wish the owner did it.
Always.
We should
Always
give them a
vibrant
prize for
conversation
dealing with us.
I told them we all
Issues.
a fun group and it may or may not be that now.
Well, no, it's not that. We're cordial.
Oh, very.
Yeah, we're cordial. There you go.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay. There is no other business that I'm aware of. And being no other business, do
I
I?
make a motion to adjourn.
Well, look at that. Do I have a second?
second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah,
All opposed, signal.
Quickly. We just voted. Did we vote? Melinda distracted me.
we voted.
We voted.
I said aye
Okay, we are
first.